dropped it from
Nice.
back too.
We were canless this week.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Premier League and Pints reviewing match day 12, and we have some wonderful things to talk about. It's been a big week again. You know, you guys are cool. You're watching our stuff. You listened a little bit more. Good job.
Thank you.
We're up to almost 1,400 incredible followers on TikTok.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And our last podcast broke our record. So you guys are sick.
Yeah, I think I checked this morning. It was at like almost 50 downloads, which is pretty cool. And then our YouTube, the views on that shot up a little bit too.
Yeah,
so.
and our subscribers went up. So
Thanks,
you guys are all.
guys.
And some, I don't know. Some people left reviews on our podcast, and they were good. So you guys are cool.
Yeah, you guys are good people.
You didn't say anything, but you wrote stars, so we're
I
cool
will
with stars.
say,
Thanks, guys.
More TikToks went up too, and you guys weren't as mean. That's the whole outside back debate.
It's true.
You weren't as mean.
I'm
Thank
still
you.
getting comments about that like a week and a half
Stop,
later.
guys.
Just so
stop.
you know.
Please stop.
But yeah.
Anyway, you guys
let's-
want to talk about Match Week 12?
Yeah, I don't think Dan wants to.
Interesting week,
But
to
we'll
say the very
talk
least.
about it.
All right,
I'm not
we'll
going to talk much today. I'm just
Oh, here we go.
not happy.
Dan's going to be very quiet.
So we're going to start off Friday. It was West Ham 2 at Leeds 1. Leeds are... I don't know. I don't know what to make of Leeds anymore.
I think there was just so much hype around them in the beginning of
Yeah.
the season. And we hyped them up, too, a lot.
Yeah,
we really did.
I mean, they came out, was it the
There's-
first game they came out firing against Liverpool?
Yeah.
It was like 7-5 or something ridiculous.
And
now
they're not a bad team
They're
either.
not.
They're not. But it's just they're not getting the results we thought they'd be getting either.
Right,
No.
a lot of close games that they've been in haven't gone their way.
Yeah.
And I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference between being in, 14th and being
Yeah.
top half of the table at least.
I mean, they do get on the board early. You know, they score 6th minute. Who drew the penalty? Was it Lickman?
No,
I'm
he's
sorry,
on.
Bamford. Wrong fucking team, Brian. Is it Bamford?
Fulham's not even in this game.
It
yet.
was
I said
Bamford.
wrong fucking team, Brian.
It was
Thank
bad.
you.
It was Bamford.
Yeah, he's
really
in.
good ball in though. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it was Bamford and the goalie 1-on-1. And
Fabianski just got his timing wrong. Takes him down. Gets the yellow. The first penalty it was glitch, as I say it.
Click, yeah.
Whatever
Click.
the hell. I don't care.
You're close.
The first one he takes, he went, I think it was low into Fabianski's right. And it was one of the worst PKs I've ever seen in my life.
It wasn't good.
However, VAR does it again. Apparently, Fabianski does come off his line before the ball's kicked. However, if you look at it again, his back foot that was on the line, it's in line with the line, like a goal line of football, right? It's in line with that plane of the goal line, but it's just not planted on the ground. So, VAR sees that his foot's off the line. They have to go back and take it again.
That's the thing. No matter how close it is, if you're off, they need to go back and do it just because of precedent, because they've done it in previous
Yeah, now you
games
have
and
to
they
do it.
can't just call it differently.
They've already set the example.
Yeah.
You got to go with it now.
you
So what's, in your opinion, what should the rule be?
Before you do that, sorry, does it count if you have 1 foot on the line or both feet have to be on? Just one?
Some part of you has to be touching that line.
Okay.
What should the rule be?
Yeah, because I mean, like, it's hard to step with 1 foot while still planting your other one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that would be an awkward position to be in as a keeper.
The rule, in my opinion, for penalties should be the keeper should have to stay in line with the line. However, they should have to be stepping on it. So if you take a step if you're diving to your right and you take a step with your right foot forward and you start moving, as long as your left foot is in line, even in the air with the goal line, that should be okay. You should not have to be touching the line before the ball is kicked. If that's the case, which it now is, that you have to be touching the line, you're not giving the keeper a chance to make the save. I mean, the only chance he has is to commit to a side, take the gas, or try and read the shooter. But when he commits, he's got to go. If he even waits a split second too long, he's not going to get there. So having the goalie keep either one of his feet planted on that line, you're completely taking away any chance he has of making the save when he, to begin with, has a very slim chance of making the save. I mean, I don't like it. I think they should go back to at least being in line with it. Again, too, as a goalie, you need to step forward in order to dive. You can't just straight up dive to a side with your
And
feet
plus,
planted.
goalies are like conditioned to cut down angles, right?
Exactly.
So like that's their only way of
Exactly.
one, it's like in their nature to do it, like jump out and kind of cut down the angle on the shot. But I don't know. I just find I think it's a little unfair.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
again,
I think
you're putting the goalie in a disadvantage where he's already not supposed to make the save.
I think some people make the argument, though, where it's like it's a penalty kick because you did something bad in the box, Like,
So you should be disadvantaged.
right,
in
like
this
the goalie
situation.
should be at a
Yeah.
disadvantage because that's the
But
situation.
isn't the disadvantage an unobstructed direct free kick?
I mean, it is.
From 8 yards away.
I mean, you got to think for years and years. I mean, you would watch replays and goalies were yards off the line saving kicks, and nothing ever happened.
And they had they had the linesmen on the line watching it, and they still would never flag it.
Right, because
Bring back the MLS PKs.
Oh,
the old
breakaway
ones.
PKs.
Don't
Those
don't.
are sick.
God, those are. Hey, you just take a touch from 30 yards out and try to finish
so
a one-on-one in under like 8 seconds or 5 seconds, whatever it was. It was just the craziest
Yeah,
thought.
I mean, but
that was the worst thing the MLS ever did, trying to Americanize the sport, and it was
Yeah,
awful.
seriously.
cool though.
Horrible.
But the thing, again, this is one of the things where, yes, VAR is called into this because they have to look at it so closely, especially now that you said, Dan, they called it once, they're going to have to call it every single time.
Yep.
But this is just a rule thing. I mean, figure it out. I mean, yeah, I understand, the VAR, again, the VAR has to go check it, but make the rule back to just in line. You shouldn't have to be standing on that
Well, I'm
line.
assuming with goal line technology, there's a way for them to be able to implement, like, look, this is the plane of the goal.
Exactly.
Let's see if there's a body part hovering. You know what I mean?
do it. There's something set up where the ref gets a buzz to his watch if the ball crosses the plane.
Although we saw last year, it doesn't always work.
Good point. But
Just saying.
Yeah. No matter what they do, someone's not going to be happy. Like, there's
Right.
always going to be something where.
again, I think that is like the best you can get to kind of making it fair for the shooter and the goalie.
Yeah.
I mean, if you say, all right, whatever, and then the goalie can come 3 inches off his line, that's not fair to the shooter. If you're going to make him plant on his line till there's contact with the ball, not fair to the keeper. If you make it so he can start his movement and just be in line with that plane of the goal line, I think that's the happy medium that you're going to have to deal with.
All
I
right.
think
Well,
this makes it fair.
luckily for West Ham, the result didn't really matter because they won.
Leeds cannot defend set pieces.
Suchek had a great goal. I mean, both of these goals for West Ham were pretty solid, honestly.
I mean,
Well,
the
bad
Suchek-
defending on the
Bad-
first
well,
one.
right.
Or bad goal
bad
keeping, I'm
goalkeeping
sorry.
on the first
Yeah,
one.
he hits him in the hands, basically in his palms.
Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of lost his footing. Who is their goalie, Leeds?
Melier.
Was
I mean, it was a little.
Melier, I think it's
yeah.
It was a
pronounced.
damp, like wet day. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but
Yeah, again, defending has to be better there. He has to keep that out. There's a defender behind him who still doesn't really help him out too much.
Yeah.
But then the second one,
Arbana.
yeah,
I think it's like you're looking at it like Leeds
Rocket
are
header.
are not great at defending set pieces. I think we were talking about before.
Yep.
And West Ham are really good at set pieces. Like
Yeah.
Agbana, they have a lot of big guys. Suchek, all these guys are really good in the air. So like it wasn't a favorable matchup in that sense for Leeds, but West Ham took advantage of it in this game.
Yeah, in the Agbana goal, I mean, Cooper, I think, is marking him, and he just overruns the ball. Like, he doesn't stay with his man. He, like, tries to overplay and just overruns completely and gives himself zero chance to challenge for it. And Agbana, great finish, power header, goalie didn't have a chance.
Yeah, it looked to begin with like he was just kind of playing just that kind of zone in the box. Like he wasn't going to stay with him the entire run and just kind of defend that area instead of the man. And like I said, Agbana just plays it better. And that's not even just like a good header. That's a power header, top corner, bar down.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Another player who's off to a good start of the season. We did our top 11 or best 11 of the season so far. He's a name that we probably should have mentioned.
He was probably one of the most commented people.
Yeah.
Was Agbana, and he has had a good season. And we've underestimated, I think, the West Ham season.
I was just gonna say they win this one 2-1.
I'll be able to finish a sentence one day. One day I'll be able to.
No, I
Finish
was gonna
a
say
sentence.
just now they win this game. Then now they're up to 6th. We did underestimate them. Like,
Yeah, I mean, West
why
Ham,
did we do that?
I mean, they're in 6th place. The only thing they've done bad is had a bad second half against Man U last week, but they've put a string of results together, and a lot of people
Wrote them off at the beginning of the
right,
season.
they had a rocky start, and we were like, that's it, they suck.
Arsenal beat them.
Well, that says a lot nowadays.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But since then, they've been able to put together a string of decent results. I mean, even against a 3-2 loss. I mean, in the context of the game, wasn't great against Man U last week, but it's still not a bad loss. I mean,
there's definitely positives you take away from that. It's not like you just 3-0 loss. No, you were winning at one point in that game. Like West Ham, and I mean, you look through their lineup. Like,
I mean, we have to give
There's not-
Moyes credit because he was chastised for years because of what he did with Man U and how fast he was in and out of that.
yeah,
And I mean, he's done a great
So,
job
like,
with his team.
You look at their lineup, and again, there's no like, I don't see there's not like that one star player. Like, oh, everything runs through him. Like everyone's contributing at this point.
Right, they have
Like,
a solid
both center
group.
backs are playing well. Declan Rice is a good defensive midfielder. Bowen going forward has been a very pleasant surprise for me.
Yeah, and their strikers kind of been like a rotating system between Allaire and Antonio, but they find a way to win. So, yeah. So
they said he was a late game decision. He never played. But
All right,
anyway.
we should probably move on to the next game.
yeah.
Yeah. This is a game full of drama. Villa 1, Wolves 0. 2 red cards in this game.
Really interesting towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I
mean
85th minute on.
Neither
Yeah.
team in this game seemed like they wanted to win, and it was almost boring to an extent because it just seemed like they were both content playing with the tie, and it was, like I said, it was a game where two strong teams, middle of the pack right now. You think like it's a good. They just didn't want it. I don't know. Like it.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's no
Wolves
urgency
had
from either
most
side.
of the chances, I think, in the first half. Like they came out pretty strong. I think Trey already created a couple chances. Martinez had a couple good saves early on. But besides that, like you said, not too much happened in this game until the second half.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
85th minute. Douglas Luiz gets his second yellow for jumping for a header with his elbow just up.
Yeah,
I'm not sure who did he get in that?
Podence.
Yeah.
and he's like a small dude to begin with, so you
Right.
got to be careful jumping up.
You can't put your elbow into a guy's back of his head, no matter how tall. It's just never going to be a good look for you.
Yeah, so then Villa's playing a man down. However, they get a penalty kick.
Semedo fouls in the box.
Yeah,
pretty obvious.
yeah.
He gets beat by speed, pretty candidly actually, and which is funny because Semedo's a pretty quick guy, known for his speed, not really his great defensive abilities.
Kind of put on display there.
Yeah, he got beat. Guy turned the corner, turned on the Jets, and he had no chance and clipped him in the back and his back leg, and he goes down. It's
Turned
a
on the
penalty.
Jets.
I'm glad you finished.
You like that, right? hey.
But yeah, it was a nice PK too.
Oh, yeah, really good. Because you know why? Because Watkins should never take their PKs again.
Nope, he should not.
And it's weird that Grealish doesn't, but you know.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, I guess they got to play to their strengths.
Right.
Maybe he's not the best
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
taker.
But then
Know
the
your
second red was Matinho. Already on a yellow.
Might be the softest red.
There's a foul in the middle of the field. He does lunge in. He doesn't get the ball. If there's contact, there was barely any.
Yeah.
I think maybe the reason it was given, it did look like Villa was kind of countering in a way and moving forward. So maybe the ref saw it like that. I don't know. Now, because it's a second yellow, they can't go back and look at it, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think only straight reds can.
I think I wonder if it's like one of those cases where like the ref didn't realize like who it was until like he had already pulled out the card and was just
maybe.
like, "Damn, like I have to give you a red for this," but like if I knew this ahead of time, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that happens a lot. I feel like when someone's on a yellow, like you get a challenge that comes in where you're like, if that guy wasn't on a yellow, that's probably a yellow.
Yeah, but then that kind of goes to like the whole, reffing not being consistent and not like.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
if you're gonna give a yellow card to one person for a challenge, regardless of if he's on a yellow or not, you got to do it the same way.
Right. But they never do that.
But the only thing I could think of was I don't remember. Maybe he had like a string of fouls at that point at the end where like he
Right,
gave him a
maybe.
warning and he just clipped him. I don't know. But either way, it's very soft and unfortunate now he misses a game now. So
Yeah.
But Villa right out. 1-0 winners in that one. Anything else about that one you guys want to talk about?
No, that was it.
All right, moving right along. Newcastle 2.
Fastest
West
goal of the
Brom
year?
1. Yeah. What was it?
I think they clocked at like 19
Yeah,
seconds.
19, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
The former MLS player, Almiron.
He's looked good. His change of pace is
I'm
insane.
trying to see. Can you have it up? I'm trying to see who got that assist. Because that pass, that little outside the foot.
Was it Joe Ellington? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That pass was beautiful.
It was
And-
Wilson to Joe Ellington across the box to Almiron. who
And
finished it nicely.
watching it back too, you see one of the Newcastle players who's, I don't know, he's on the outside. He's maybe 20 yards out of the play. As soon as that ball's played through, he already has his hands up and celebrating before Almiron even shoots it.
Sometimes
and
you know.
Great finish.
Yeah.
Shoots it back across.
Yeah, left-footed.
Side netting. Nothing the keeper could do there.
Awkward silence.
Yeah,
Go, guys.
I looked at you guys. I'm like, all right, I was talking.
So I mean, they score early, and then the rest of the first half is scoreless. So we don't want to harp too much on that. Then West Brom gets
A weirdly nice goal.
yeah.
Weirdly nice.
Like,
though. Like
nice.
One of those where you didn't really
Awkward
realize like what happened
Yeah.
until you watched it on the replay because it looks like the Newcastle player's in like
Stood
in good
there.
position. He's
Yeah.
there. He's about to clear the ball, and Furlong just comes.
he just
like
kind of lunges in and gets a weird foot to it.
Like
and
weird
Yeah.
outside of the
Really nice
foot to the
contact.
far low far post.
Came through like a bat out of hell
a
and
bullet.
got the perfect foot on it and placed it beautifully in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look back at it, though, it did look like the Newcastle defender was kind of stumbling backwards and couldn't get his footing.
Yeah, it's.
So, I mean, you can't fault him completely for that. I mean, that's just kind of lucky.
Awareness-wise, he has to know someone's coming behind him, or his teammates at
Look,
some
he said
point
he
have
came
to
like
be.
a bat out of hell. I don't think he expected that to happen.
I mean, it was a crazy goal.
a great
but
finish, though.
Pretty awesome, not gonna lie.
And then, where's the other one?
But in West Brom fashion this season, they lose this game.
Excuse me.
You good?
Yeah, I coughed.
Well, coughing in this day and age, you never know. Gotta be
I'm
sure.
fine. This was a really, really, really nice ball in from Murphy, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Really nice in swinger.
Really
And
nice might be underselling.
Beautiful.
It was just-
Exquisite.
yeah,
Oh, that's a
the
good
one, right?
word.
exquisite.
Ball in. And I think Dwight Gale, I think it might have been his first, I don't think he didn't start, but his first appearance or something of the season, or he was just on the pitch and really nice bullet header into the back of the net.
Oh,
and they get all 3 points. So
Scoring against the former team he was just on loan at.
That
Yeah.
ball he
Right.
puts in is just
just the bend on it perfectly.
like
Because the goalie can't come out on that. And
yeah, exactly. Playing a whipped ball across is like such an art,
Yeah.
and that ball was gorgeous.
yeah, so Newcastle come away with 3 points there.
They've been on a okay run. You know, I mean, they're beating teams they're supposed to beat.
Yeah.
West
At
Brom.
least someone is.
I mean,
All right.
subtle shots at
All right,
Arsenal all episode long.
We good there?
Surely.
All right, so moving on, what was supposed to be the game of the weekend
Yeah.
wasn't really. The only game that ended goalless. Manchester United.
Shout out to the guy on YouTube who commented Manchester
Manchester.
is red, even though they tied 0-0. Thought that was kind of funny.
Because it's a better result for them, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
They'll take what they
Yeah,
can get at this
so-
point.
You want to start? You want me to go first?
I mean, I'll start. Sure.
All right, let's just.
I would say, I was first of all, I was upset seeing the lineups come out that
Yeah, I was just
Aguero
waiting
wasn't
to hear
healthy. He was not even on the bench, so he apparently it wasn't even from his injury he's been dealing with. It was like a gastro something, like his stomach issues.
Oh, wow.
Was why he didn't play
know
this
that.
week. Yeah, that's why he wasn't even in the team. We go with the Stones Diaz partnership once again, which I mean they didn't play bad. Stones has actually looked okay. I'm not a
let up
big
a
fan
goal,
of them, but they exactly another shutout, so I can't be too critical. It seems like Walker Cancelo is the go-to outside pairing, so they looked good as well. I mean, I would say City, at least in the first half, had majority possession and majority of chances.
Mm-hmm.
They can't finish. We can't finish very well. We can create in the middle. We can play balls through, but we can't finish. I don't know what it is.
You guys need that.
I think it was Mahrez in this one that had the probably best chance of the game. He gets, I think De Bruyne, a ball gets played to De Bruyne in the middle of the field, and De Bruyne has like a perfect touch through the defender's legs onto Mahrez running on the right side, and Mahrez takes not a great first touch, takes another touch, shoots, and gets saved. I mean, he should have finished that goal.
Yeah, watching that, De Gea comes out and he cuts the angle well. He does what he's supposed to do, and he just kind of stands strong. I don't know if it was this one or a different City chance where I know they wound up not scoring, if it was saved or if it was a missed shot, but it was going to be offside if they went back and looked at it. I'm not sure if it was this one.
No, it wasn't that
Wasn't
one.
this one? It was a different one?
No, and there was another chance in this game where like De Bruyne there's a chance inside the box, and the ball kind of gets like pinged back to De Bruyne, who like one times it and it goes over. I mean, it was like a half chance.
That was after the Mars shot.
No.
Yeah,
Was it? Maybe.
pretty sure.
So De Bruyne, I mean, it was a half chance. I mean, the ball came at him like 100 miles an hour, and he tries to one-time it. There's not a lot you can do there. Like I said, we created more chances, I think. I think that's not arguable.
No.
I mean, Man U had a couple chances on a counter, and they had a couple spells of possession, but nothing major.
I said, like, looking at the United lineup, I mean, I wasn't happy to see Pogba in there. Just because he's not playing well at all.
And his agent hates
his
the team.
agent. With everything that came out,
Doesn't
I
help.
don't think you reward that. I was upset.
You can't, but can you really blame the player for the agent? I
Then
mean,
tell
I'm
him
sure
to
they're
shut
close,
up.
but I mean,
Figure it out. I don't know.
he's a grown man. He's not. I mean,
Whatever. But I was annoyed that Cavani wasn't even in the team. He was hurt as well. Obviously, Aguero.
yeah, there's not much you can do about that.
Which does help. I mean, a guy that can come back from up the top, get the ball, and kind of hold up play. especially in the second half when United were just under pressure the entire time. They're just sending the ball out.
Yeah.
Fred, I prefer Van de Beek, but whatever.
Fred didn't play terrible.
No,
He actually picked up an injury. I thought he was going to get subbed out early, but he fought through it. So.
Yeah.
You know who I actually thought had a good game for you guys? Shockingly enough, was Maguire. Actually played well.
Yeah, he did play well.
He got his body in front of everything.
He did play well.
It was actually pretty crazy.
Game. Like Garrett said, I mean the first half, City had a majority of the chances. United had a couple. Nothing that was that stood out a lot. Maybe they had one decent one. However, the second half, I feel like nothing happened in the first 20, 25 minutes of the second half. But after like 25 minutes, it was wave after wave of City attack.
Yeah,
they just couldn't, like you said, they couldn't find that last ball,
right,
that last shot. They couldn't find it.
I mean, the shots on target in this game were 2-2. It wasn't like this was a shootout by any means, and we couldn't score. There were just no chances that got created. There was just nothing.
But especially where United have been terrible in the first half and very good in the second half lately. It was weird to see it kind of flip flop.
Yeah,
they had an okay first half and then a pretty subpar second half.
The only thing I would have said in this game is I would have liked to have seen Foden at some point come in early.
Yeah.
And not, I mean, he puts in Torres, who is a good player.
Once.
Yeah,
that's weird.
It's just weird as a coach who likes to rotate players so much. As much as he's rotated this year, he hasn't subbed a lot. Like he's been going maybe one sub, maybe two with an injury.
Yeah.
Every game. I don't think we've used 3 subs a lot, and I don't know. Foden, I feel like is a player in a 0-0 game, especially when you have most of the possession, who can make that final pass or make that final run to make something happen. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's two of the last things I always wanted to say about this game is one, I thought the Sterling Wan-Bissaka matchup was fun to watch. I thought there was times where Sterling got the better Wan-Bissaka, and there was times where Wan-Bissaka got that last second slide tackle in, which prevented him from getting a shot or a cross off. And the second thing being, the form menu's been in at home. I hate to say it because it is the Derby game, and I want them to win this game more than pretty much any other game of the year. I'm happy with the point as a United fan because we've sucked at home. Yes, City, aren't having their best year right now, at least. But a game like this, at least you can get a point out of it. It's something at home. It's maybe gets the momentum to swing a little bit. You're going into a short week because there are midweek games coming up.
I mean, at this point, Manchester is colorless. So we'll find out next time.
But that's all I got in this game. Yeah, anything else?
No, that's it. I mean, I would love to have talked more about it, but there wasn't a lot to talk about. So
all right, moving on. Another game which I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna just say something real quick. So we got a comment, and someone was like, "Oh, what do you think the Chelsea Everton game was? What the score is going to be?" This is before, and I'm like, I don't know. Everton hasn't been in great form. Chelsea's been kind of rounding into their own lately. I'm like, I could see Chelsea winning by 2 goals or something like that. I swear, this kid waited, and waited. It wasn't even the kid that made the first comment.
Oh no,
no, it wasn't even the same kid. And he was like, "Yeah, nice analysis." I'm like, "Oh yeah," because I'm sure everyone else had Everton winning this one by a landslide. What?
Yeah, Everton wins this one 1-0 on a penalty kick.
You show me one expert that's right every single time they guess a game or predict a game.
We never claim to be experts. We're just professionals.
Correct.
We're professionals, not experts. The difference there. Figure it out.
We're soccer geniuses, I think.
But yeah, this is
That's
another
a technical term.
This is another game where I thought, wow, this is going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
It really wasn't.
I mean, it wasn't like Chelsea played bad in this game. They gave up the pen. So they're down 20 minutes in. No argument on the penalty, I don't think, right? We're all agreed.
Came out and hip checked Calvert-Lewin.
So we're all in agreement.
But I mean, Chelsea dominates possession. Again, one of those where they played the Chelsea style right now, which is you get your ball to your wings, you try to play balls in, and it just wasn't Giroud's day. I mean,
Werner had some chances too.
Yeah. And at the end, I mean, they were going for it. I mean, they put in Abraham and Giroud together, which is something we don't see very often from this Chelsea side this year.
Yeah, and I mean, this is it's not even the strongest Everton team either because they're missing Digne, they're missing James, I mean, so they're missing 2 of their best players right there. I mean, I hate to say it, but Iwobi's been playing a little bit. He's been playing pretty decent for them too.
Sigurdsson too had a good showing. Besides the penalty, but he actually had a good. A good outing.
It wasn't a great penalty, but he scored it.
Right, yeah, it's a good point. It was right, actually, Mendy just kind of, Wasn't good.
What?
The penalty kick by Sigurdsson.
That was the bad one? Oh, my bad. Is that the only? I remember I watched it.
Yeah,
I
you
thought
make-
the solo one was the crazy
That
one.
also was bad.
Oh.
We were saying this is a
one
week
was
of like
a
bad
slower-
penalties.
Yeah.
Oh, the slow one.
Yeah.
This one. Okay. Yeah.
But they scored, so I don't think no one on Everton cares.
No
They
one
went
cares. Yeah.
You know, and you gotta give credit to Everton. I mean, they're playing against a team the Chelsea, who's proved they could score this year, right? And to come out, I mean, Everton, they started the year, pretty good, kind of cooled off a little bit, and to come out, you're at home, you get the clean sheet against a team who's been scoring. It's got to be such a great feeling. It's got to be such a boost going forward. Especially going into this week where they're playing Leicester. I think you need that momentum. You kind of need that pick me up, especially as a keeper in your back line. Think, okay, we could shut out Chelsea. Maybe we can go do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it helps Everton that Mina and Keane are decent in the air against Giroud.
Yeah.
That's a big help. And I think that's Chelsea's style of play. I mean, they have two big targets up top. Abraham's a little bit different. He's more of a hold-up, I think, than Giroud is, even though Giroud can hold the ball up more. He's a better target in the box than Abraham is, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't know, but just saying.
I mean, you're wrong about the score prediction, so you pretty much don't know anything.
So we
about
don't know
soccer.
anything. We know zero.
Anything
So
else this week?
one thing we can agree on is that like Havertz hasn't been it, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll
So
touch on
just
that.
later we're having last week we did the best 11 of the season so far. So this week we're going to do the not the best 11, which we'll explain what that is.
Underperforming or
Yeah, we'll get
Right,
there.
we'll preface it before you guys
We'll get there.
tell us that we're wrong every time.
just going to
So,
Sunday.
All right, we good?
Yeah.
Move
Yeah.
on to Sunday's games.
I like Reece James a lot, but yeah, we can keep going.
All right, Sunday, Southampton, 3, Sheffield, still suck.
Yeah, man,
Walking
they're
0 for them.
I almost feel bad. Like,
Yeah, I mean, a team last year who I thought would come into the season with a lot of promise, especially they prided themselves on
they
their
can't
defending.
score. They can't score goals.
Yeah, they can't.
You can't. I mean, people
first
are always
goal of
like,
this game was
"Well, if you don't let a goal in, you can't lose." It's
You also can't win.
Yeah, if you don't score ever, you can't win. I mean, it's you can't go into every game going, "Wow, I really
Yeah.
hope we tie this one 0-0." Like I feel like that's almost how that is now.
Yeah.
They have no threat. There's
Yeah.
zero threat.
But for as bad as they've been playing, Southampton have been quite the opposite. They're
Yeah,
they're on a
been-
roll, man. 5th place in the league, right?
Fourth, I think.
Are they
I'll
top
double
4?
check, I'll double check.
But
might be fourth.
or 5th, but they
4th.
Yeah.
look at them.
They have a
They're
point on
playing.
Chelsea in 5th.
How much are they off the top of the table?
2.
2 points off the top of the
points.
table.
Right, and tell me another team here that loses their striker like they did and still keeps up that form
For a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Not many teams
what they're
can do
doing
that,
is
yeah.
just unheard of. Really, it's pretty crazy.
Like
Actually,
they don't have that one superstar, but they play as a good unit, like as a
Yeah,
good cohesive
right.
unit. And I think
Play a good team game.
like they don't play the flashiest of soccer either. But I mean, Ward-Prowse in the middle, he's more of like the gritty kind of. He'll
Right.
send good balls in. He'll
he could have got a
create.
nod in our best 11 this year. He's played very well.
Yeah, yeah. And then even Stuart Armstrong, he's been in and out of the lineup, but he's a good player. He's makes some decent runs in, and one of his goals was a good link up with Ings, and unfortunately took a deflection. We're jumping ahead here, but I mean, even Che Adams, who we spoke
just
about a
gonna
little
say.
bit, like he was the kind of guy that had a rough season last year, starting to find his form towards the end of the year, and now he's been a really solid
Yeah.
player for them.
I mean,
Yeah.
his goal in this game, ball in the box, kind of the defender didn't really want it as bad as he did.
Yeah.
I mean, keeper's got to either come or stay. He decides to stay. Maybe some miscommunication there, but he just wants the ball more. Wasn't the cleanest goal. He just kind of got his foot on it, goes through the defender's legs, and beats the goalie near post. I don't think he was even ready for him to get a shot off.
Yeah.
But again, right there, that's like you said. They don't play the most pretty style of the game, but that's just like a gritty goal. That's I want the ball more,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna go win it.
Yeah, the partnership in the back of Sheffield right now, the Egan
It's not good.
and oh my god, what's his name?
Scroll down.
Yeah, well they played 5 in the back. But
Basham
Egan, I thought
is the one I was thinking
Egan
of.
last year was like a rock for them, and this year he hasn't been as consistent
No.
in performance.
Yeah,
As he was
even
last
in
year.
goal. Ramsdale was very good last year.
We talk
too,
about
and
how
he
they
hasn't done much.
how Sheffield doesn't want to score. I mean, they're lining up in a 5-3-2
Yeah.
in this game. So, other than a ball up to McBurney in the box, like they
all
have
they have.
zero
That's all
threat.
they have.
Like that is their only threat
Yeah.
to score a goal this year.
And they took the kid from Liverpool, Ryan Brewster, I think his name is. Like, they took him on loan, and he's like an exciting, different kind of player. He's not like an Ollie McBurney who's in the air and like the hold up kind of guy. But why not at least try to incorporate him into the lineup? Like, he's a solid prospect. People think highly of him. He plays for like lower
now.
England teams.
And what do you have to lose?
The
so you
national
have nothing
teams.
to lose
Yeah,
right now.
that's what I'm saying.
Like-
Like, he might bring some kind of spark to the team or some kind of different dimension where, people are going to figure out their game plan, which really isn't much going forward.
Just try and defend and fail at it.
It's really get a set piece in the front and then try to score on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's at some point you have to make a change. Like, you have to change something. If it
Yeah.
doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you're not going to be doing any worse than you already are,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you can't really much
But-
have worse of a season than you're having.
Yeah, and then even like we're saying, they don't get chances, but I mean they don't get any shots or anything, but they don't create chances either. They had 3 shots the whole game,
And 0 on target.
0 on target. So they didn't once threaten the goalkeeper
Yeah,
in 90 minutes.
You're never going to win a game like that.
But going forward in this game, Dan touched on it. The Armstrong goal.
Yep.
It was deflected, which, I mean, sucks. But you can't let that guy get the shot away to begin with.
Yeah, he had a lot of
You
time.
can't let Armstrong get the
Yeah.
shot away. And then the final goal
Setting
of
up a
this
tent
game,
in the box, pretty much.
Yeah, the final goal of this game. Redmond comes on in the 80th minute.
Dan just banged his knee.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
He comes on in the 80th, scores in the 83rd.
I just hit the microphone.
yeah,
We're in
you did.
shambles.
Redmond gets the ball. Kind of a pretty good first touch. He's kind of getting pushed off the ball. He's got his forearm in his ribs, and he's almost falling. And he still gets his foot around it. He hits a far post, side netting. It's a great finish. I feel like he's another one of those players where last year and previous years, he was that impact player. I feel like you heard his name a lot more than you do this year. But if he, again, that's just another player where to a Southampton team that has been on fire and they just got their all-star, you could say all-star striker at this point, and Danny Ings, because he has been. They just got him back. Adam's been playing well, and now if you could bring on Redmond, later in a game, he's a stronger body up top as another forward option. Like, shit, Southampton's good.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they're a good team. I think that's the big
Yeah.
difference. And their defense hasn't been terrible. I mean, Vestergaard's had a good year. So, I mean, they're not they're good. This isn't a fluke, I don't think. You know what I mean? I don't think this is just going to fall off. I think they're a solid team, and they've shown
Here to stay.
even with injuries they can work through it as a team. So, I think
They've always been a club that produces like top talent too, so it's kind of cool to see them kind of stick onto it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, not get rid of him. I mean, they got Danny Ings from Liverpool, which, I mean, they didn't, he didn't go through their youth system, but they're bringing in players like Che Adams, Stuart Armstrong, not Walker Peters. Oh, yeah, they brought in Walker Peters from Tottenham. And then Ward-Prowse has just been, I mean, they have a good squad, and if they can continue to build on it, they can continue to fight,
yeah.
for challenge top 4.
All right.
All right, move on. Let's go.
Moving on, we have Tottenham at Palace. This game ends 1-1. Disappointing for Tottenham, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game where they take the lead early. They're playing well. They're creating chances. They eventually get the goal. Kane takes the shot. I mean, they can't shoot. You can't score if you don't shoot.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. It
To a
does,
T, that
it-
is this goal.
It does move, but the goalie is already committed to going down as the ball's kind of swerving back. He tries to dive back, gets a piece of it. I think, Garrett, you mentioned this before we started recording. It was a pretty wet day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the
I think he
ball kind of
lost.
skips on him.
Yeah.
You lose it a bit. It's a shot that has to be saved. But, again, that's just kind of how Tottenham's been right now. Everything they do is just working.
Right, and it just, of course, Son just happened to be the one that flicked the ball
Assisted it,
onto him,
yeah.
and he shoots and scores. I feel like if anyone else passes in that ball, it doesn't go in.
go
It's
Yeah.
just this year they're having.
But it was such a... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I say anything they do works. It's
Yeah.
one of those years.
Yeah, but even Son assisted it, but the whole build-up was really nice.
started
They
on the
moved it
back,
from
yeah.
the back, worked it up nice on the left-hand side, and then Son, played it into Kane, and the rest is history.
And boom, goal.
But then I think you were about to get to this, Garrett. They get their goal. They're making chances. They're creating chances. They get their goal. And then a team like Palace, where you think Tottenham can go out and score more, they just kind of stop. I think
Yeah.
they kind of they pull back a little bit.
Which with
that
Mourinho, we're not
style.
surprised, right?
I think that's where he may have to change his tactics a bit. A team like Palace, where you can probably go forward and get more, you don't do that. You don't take advantage of it. And then
All right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit.
Let's go.
And I was gonna say
down.
the same thing, so I'm not saying I agree with what I'm saying. I just want to put the thought out
playing
there.
devil's advocate.
I almost think that there's an argument to be made that Tottenham is the favorites to win the league based on their style of play. I think it's easier to commit to a full season of 2 games in 3 days every week when you play a style that's based on sitting back and counterattacking than it is to play a style like Man City or Liverpool or Chelsea, who are high press. You have to go at them every game. You're playing much more energy. You're rotating players a lot more. We've already seen, like Klopp's been mentioning, how tired the players are, how the schedule is draining.
Solskjaer has to.
Solskjaer the same. I just butchered that name.
You did.
Ole has said.
Yeah, just go with Ole.
Right. So I think as we're getting into this like dog days of a game every 2 or 3 days, it's a lot easier to be a team that sits back, defends, and counters than it is a team that presses for 90 minutes and tries to score 5 goals.
I agree.
It didn't work here, but it has worked almost every other game this season.
And maybe because they do that, again, we're going into kind of a shorter week for them. Maybe they're better rested going into this week.
Right. I'm sure they would have liked to win. And as soon as Palace scores, for the last 13 minutes, Tottenham goes full out, move the ball. They created chances again and just didn't score.
Exactly.
But,
So they have it in them to press for longer periods of time. But it's just, again, that style of play. And Garrett mentioned the goal. I mean, I can't remember. It was a set piece, correct? It wasn't just a ball in the box. It was a set piece.
For what? Palace?
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful
set piece.
The ball gets swung in. It's kind of a in-swinger. There's nothing Lloris can do. If he comes out and someone gets a flick on it, he's screwed. If he stays, and someone, kind of leaves it, it goes right in.
Yeah.
Right.
It was Eze that put the ball in.
So
right? I'm pretty sure.
I think two players.
It's incredible.
A forward and a defender. I forget who they were. They kind of jump, to win the ball. Neither of them get it. The time Lloris can react, it's maybe 2 inches from him. So
you can't see it. Just hits.
He just gets his hands on it in a way. And then, who was it? Schlupp was the first one to pounce on that ball. It fell right in front of Lloris. Nothing he could do. And it was cool seeing him run off in celebration in front of fans. You just tie the game in the 81st minute against Tottenham, who may be favorites to win this league, and you're celebrating with your fans for the first time. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think the fans played a big part in that comeback. They brought a lot of energy to that team while they were chasing that goal.
And they chased for a while.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like they had a spell here and there. They
consistent.
Pushed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it kind of, I think you could kind of make a case for both teams here. Again, Palace pushed and pushed and pushed. Maybe could have got a couple. So maybe, they feel either happy with the point. Maybe they feel like, okay, now we know maybe we could have beat them and got more out of it.
Right, but the thought is then if they scored the 1, are they still pressing that high?
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's
and then the other.
It's so hard to what if a game like this with these teams.
And the other side of that is, Tottenham. I mean, they have to be disappointed with that. I mean, again, we don't know why they sit back constantly when we know they can go forward and get goals. We've seen them do it, but
and one thing I want to point out is we gave the goalie some crap for letting this ball in, but the rest of his game, he played out of his mind.
Played great.
Oh yeah,
he had 3 or 4 point blank saves that kept them holding this point after Tottenham pressed again. I mean, he was incredible. So he more than made up for the mistake in the beginning.
That's tough to do. I mean, you let up in a goal like that in the 20th minute, and just to get that in your head and have that quick memory, and for another 70 minutes you go out there and you play great. That's tough to do. I mean, it's tough at any position on the field, but especially as a keeper, because everyone sees it. You're going to get criticized for that. It's not like your guy in the middle who has one bad pass. No one's going to harp on that all game.
Right, he's going to make 5 more in the next 10
exactly.
seconds. It doesn't matter.
And he, short memory, got out of his head, and he played great the rest of the game. So good for him. Yeah. And he gives them the point in this game.
Yeah.
Well, helps them get the point.
Right, helps them secure it.
Moving on?
Yep, Fulham-Liverpool.
All right, Fulham-Liverpool.
A game that played out how I don't think anyone saw it playing out.
Fulham were the better team in the first half.
Yeah, I think so.
By a long shot, I think.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close.
Yeah, and honestly, some of the second half, too.
They deserved better in this game, a better result.
They did.
I'm sure they're kicking themselves today.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll start off the first goal, Bobby D. Cordiva-Reed. Oh, what a finish.
Bullet to the front.
Yeah.
I mean, they got kind of fortunate because Liverpool were trying to break out, I think, and the defenders were starting to push up, but the ball kind of got scrambled around, and then someone just played in.
Perfect pass.
Yeah. And all he had to do was get a foot on it, and, well, actually, that's not all he had to do, but he
He did it.
He got a real nice foot on
Yeah,
it. And
he ripped that.
He put a
goalie
great
had no
foot.
chance. Allison had no chance of saving that.
Yeah, that was a beautiful finish.
Yeah.
And then it felt like it was coming. Like
Yeah.
watching that game, you were like, they're actually going to get one here.
Yeah, and again, that's
Yeah.
another one where, they score against Liverpool, the reigning champions, and
Fans
your first
were
home game,
there.
and you get to do it with the fans.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was cool.
It was so nice. Like you could even tell, like the commentators on a lot of the games were like, this isn't artificial fan noise. Like these are
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
2,000 people that
That's
are
awesome.
that are pumped to watch these games again.
Yeah.
It's different. It's a different feeling.
Yeah, but
Eventually, we'll be there where we can have full stadiums again, and I think that's a moment we're all looking forward to. But as of right now, we'll take the 2,000 just for the atmosphere alone.
But Liverpool doing Liverpool things, find a way to get something out of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
before,
late
before
pen.
we even say that, I mean, they brought back Alexander Arnold. I mean, they have a strong lineup in too, and they were getting
Right.
outplayed by
Yeah.
This is their
by Fulham, which we wrote off to go right back down. Which right now it doesn't seem like it anymore. They're playing I think they have a better chance of staying up than Arsenal at this point.
This is a team this is like a year of momentum that just swung.
Yeah.
It's so hard. That's why I don't care who you are. To predict these games week in and week out
Yeah.
is impossible this year. We're gonna do our best, but there's no shot.
Yeah.
Well, after the Arsenal game, we'll mention it. But no one predicted what was gonna happen this week.
Shut off. But one more thing, Mane hasn't really been himself
No.
recently either. I mean, Firmino's been pretty quiet. So I guess on the score sheet from a penalty kick, but
Right, he's been good, but he's a lot of his stats have come
Your
from
coaster, sorry.
pens.
yeah. But good to see
Speaking of
Alexander
pens.
Arnold back 'cause he's been out for a while.
Yeah, but I mean, this Fulham team we talked. I mean, Lookman's looked great. Caballero is a chance creator. I mean, and he puts himself in the right position. I said Lookman's a good one-on-one. He can take a player on. He'll take two players on, get a good pass in.
And Gisa and Lamina are creating a nice little center mid
They look good in
pairing
the middle
too.
of the field.
And I get it. Listen, we're American. There's an American on this team, and we're not biased. He's looked very good.
Yeah, and Anthony Robinson.
I think he's looked incredible the last few weeks. He can get forward, and I think him getting forward wasn't ever bigger of a problem as most of his defending. And let's be honest, he's no lockdown defender by any means, but he's a serviceable defender that can play in a game and then create chances going forward, and that's what this league has been about for the last few years.
He was
So,
high energy, high intensity too, where he's pushing up and down the field, which is it's good to see. He was creating overlapping runs, and you could see he'd give a ball to a midfielder who checks in, and he'd make a run down the field, and he'd be pissed if he didn't get the ball back.
Yeah.
And that's something you want to see.
Or
You
he
want to
wants
see a
it.
player who's willing to
When
push
this-
up.
When this dude, he makes those runs and he gets going, he is quick.
he's a bigger dude than I realized.
Yeah,
he's
he's
a pretty
quick.
tall guy,
And
actually.
he's
so-
quick.
But
He is.
For his height.
And I think
He's quick.
Fulham's done a good job of playing a formation that kind of
Suits
plays
them.
to their team's strengths. So they sit with a three back, deep back in the middle of the field, and they do run basically wing backs as their two outsides. I mean, if you look at their lineup, it almost looks like he's playing as a midfielder.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's playing really as a wing back. But
And I think Lamina sits in further back too, in a holding midfield position. So
Right.
where if they do get countered, they have more four in the back or more coverage back there.
which gives him the freedom to go, you know what, I can make these runs because on the off chance I don't get back, there's
Yeah.
at least someone there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Fulham's done a great job of, putting up results. Like I said, they should have won this game.
They're digging themselves out of relegation. They're getting out of the hole.
An unfortunate PK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call. It's a
it
penalty. It's to me it's a handball.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
it's
you-
unfortunate, but
But as soon as he
is.
picks his arm off of his body,
yeah.
So just real
that's where the
quick,
mistake's made.
Liverpool have a free kick. Take the shot. Guy in the wall jumps, puts his arm out. I mean,
Kind of turns his body. lifts
yeah.
his arm
yeah.
up a
Once,
bit.
once if you're turning your body like that, it's one thing. Once the arm comes up, they're gonna call it every time. The one thing I want to mention real quick, because I mentioned to you guys, as a goalie, having one of your defenders lay down behind the wall, fucking brilliant. I love that. It's awesome. But
One other point of this game was too is that there was a foul on Fabinho. They questioned whether it was a foul in the box, and they looked at it for I think 3.5 minutes. I think they said, and I saw it from a bunch of different views. I'm not a Liverpool supporter. I want them to lose just as much as anyone else that doesn't support them does. It wasn't a pen. You can clearly see from the one angle that he gets the ball first and pokes out of bounds and then hits the player. It's not a pen.
yeah,
I wish it was. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't.
We mentioned it before too. This is a week of pretty crappy penalty kicks. I don't know how Salah got this one in.
Yeah, it
I mean,
was
he
not
puts
good.
it He was at shin height and a foot to the right of the Fulham keeper. He goes down. I mean, he hit it with pace. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
He gets a very, very good piece of it. Just can't keep it out. Unlucky for him.
Another goalie who had a really good game.
Yeah.
That I mean, he's not expected to save that, but he
Right.
got a good hand on it, and he made some decent saves in the game. So,
But that was that.
Fulham on the radar, though. Moving on.
Fulham. So let's move on here. Dan's hood is now going up for those.
am
who
I
are
in the
just
wrong game?
Listening. I believe you are.
No. They were at the same time.
Yeah,
They were at the same time.
Which one do you want to do first?
Let's go Leicester first.
We'll go Leicester first. Dan, take that off.
And
Take it off.
Dan, take your hood off.
So we'll do Leicester
You
first.
can be alive for the next couple minutes.
Leicester win at home against Brighton quite easily, 3-0.
Had a good spell where they scored 3 goals in like 14 minutes and rode out a victory. I mean,
James Maddison gets 2, which will, the second one was beautiful, but
first one was questionable.
yeah,
Not questionable as it was a goal, just not a great.
no, I mean it's a goal's a goal.
it was a deflection.
Yeah.
But
However, the second one, the build-up play in that to Vardy,
really nice. James Justin right on the right
Yeah,
hand
he
side.
swings in the right side, and that's
Low, perfect cross on
low
the
hard
ground.
ball across. It's a Vardy goal. I mean,
Like we
But
said,
a
though,
great finish, though.
Great
I mean,
finish.
like,
there's players that miss that.
a lot of players are going to get too excited. They're going to hit it hard. Like, even Werner in, like, the last game where he hit the post from, like,
Yeah.
5 feet away. Like, you get a bad touch on it, it can go anywhere.
Yeah.
But he does really nice.
His composure in front of the goal.
Like, he was
is
smart enough
unmatched.
to let that roll through his body.
Yeah.
with the defender on his back.
Yeah.
This is a dude that was working in a steel mill, like, a couple years ago.
But the third goal of this game, the James Maddison goal, he's going to the right.
Gorgeous.
He fakes a shot. He cuts back, takes a touch, left foot, bends one to that top corner.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just beautiful.
Gorgeous. There's nothing goalie can do.
Beautiful.
No.
He's
Nothing.
not a player you can give time to, like,
No.
from that position.
The thing is, too, like, he made a few moves. Like, he created his own time and space. And that's why
Yeah.
he's so dangerous. Like, again, players, and you can't give him time, but even when you do close him down and you give him no time, he'll put a move on. He'll make his own space. He'll give himself time.
Yeah.
And again,
And this-
when he does, that's what happens. He scores beautiful goals.
Yeah, and this could be big for him and Leicester, too, because he has had a slow start to the season coming off injury and, hasn't really been himself, I'd say, recently.
Yeah, no.
He looked good in this game. And obviously, he scored 2 goals, but he's also starting to create. He's always been that, like, creative midfielder who's reminds me of Ozil in his prime.
Yeah, when
he creates chances, but now it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, like you said,
He's a good player. Hopefully, he
him
kicks off.
coming off injury, I hope this game kind of jumpstarts the rest of his season, because when he is at the top of his game and he is in form, he is easily one of the most fun midfielders to watch and one of the best midfielders in the league.
Yeah.
So I hope this gets him going, because again, Leicester's a team unless they're playing United, I don't care who they're playing. I just always have fun watching them play. I enjoy them just
I mean,
just watching their games. I don't know why.
if there's a time for them
They're
to hit
always fun.
stride, I mean,
It's now.
it's not like they haven't hit stride. I mean, they're 1 point out of first place.
Yeah.
And so if they're coming into their form now, then the rest of the league better be on alert because
them and
They
Southampton do it at a great time where Chelsea, Liverpool, and Tottenham all drop points this week.
And they have injuries to their best player, or some of their best players too, like Seonchu, who's been one of the best center defenders in the league last year, I think. He's out. Pereira's coming back from injury soon too, so they're getting these players back, and they're just going to keep getting stronger,
Yeah.
I think.
yeah, and Pereira is top. Arguably, you could put him in the top 3, but at least top 5 back when healthy in the league.
Yeah,
probably.
outside back.
Yeah, don't even. I don't need to deal with those comments again. I'm waking up in my sleep with 30 notifications going.
All right, we touched on that.
And Harvey
okay.
Barnes has been a really good player this season too, I think. I
Yeah.
didn't know too much about him in years past. I don't think he got too much time, but now he's a solid player. Don't know if he played in this game or not. Just making.
He subbed.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of it, I mean, there's not too much to say about Brighton in this game.
They did create some chances.
They
I
did.
mean,
I know, I mean, right now with this loss, I mean, they're only 2 points safe right now. A player that I thought had a decent start, Malpai, hasn't scored in his last, I think, 6 games. So he's kind of struggling. And Brighton, I mean, again, another team fighting for their lives, especially with the team we're about to mention next, with them getting a result, doesn't help. Speaking of that game.
Speaking of
let's
that
go
game,
into it.
Dan, would you like to put your hood back on?
So,
Can I just leave?
All right, so
the final, what's the final score first? Yeah. So Burnley, fuck you, Burnley, who I have a thing with apparently. 1-0 winners over Daniel's Arsenal.
All right, Dan, you can go.
You may talk.
Can I switch teams? Can
You know,
I be fans?
I mean-
Who's what?
Visually, you haven't committed to a team. You've never worn
That's
a
on
jersey.
purpose. I wore it the first day. I wore it the first day when I was excited about the season. I haven't worn it since because there's not much to be excited for anymore these days.
You got your dinosaur back.
Dude, I honestly don't know what to say. I can't watch this team anymore. Every weekend I go in thinking something's gonna change. Maybe things will change. Maybe they'll start playing decent soccer. Nope. The first
I
half,
keep looking at Dan, and then I look at the score on the screen. It's just like,
they're playing Burnley at home with fans for the first time in like a year, right? Fans have been in the stadium in a year. You think they'd come out like really psyched, like ready to go? No, they don't. You're playing fucking Burnley. They've scored 5 goals all year.
Well, 6 now.
6.
They didn't even score this one. They didn't even fucking score
No,
this
they
one.
didn't. Aubameyang breaks his drought.
A great finish by Aubameyang.
Good finish. Well,
Well, you're skipping some
Oh, yeah.
important
the
parts
goal.
here.
Keep going, Dan.
All right, let's just go. The first half, nothing really happens. I could kind of tell based on the way they're playing. If they don't score, they're not really. Again, they were creating chances, but they weren't getting like clear-cut chances where I'm like, oh, one's coming. Like I think a goal's coming, and it kind of fizzled out. Burnley really didn't do much either in the first half, but it was just a boring half. Second half starts, they play really good. And I'm like thinking, okay, maybe we're gonna score one. Like they keep creating chances. Xhaka had a few. Aubameyang was getting into like different, making different runs, getting chances. Even William was playing decent. And Xhaka gets a stupid red card.
Yeah. The one thing where
Not stupid in the sense that it was a bad call.
No,
He's a fucking idiot. He grabs the Burnley player by the neck, and then tries to play it off like, "Oh, whoa, I didn't do anything." No, they're going to VAR. You know it, and it just screws the team over and brings them down to 10 men for like essentially the whole second
the
half.
2 things I wanted to say about that was one, good on the refs because he originally gave him a yellow. Once he looked at it, he took the yellow out, waved it off, and gave him a straight red, which is the right thing to do.
I knew the second. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So did
Sorry.
he, because I remember they showed him after the card came out. He wasn't complaining. He just went, yeah, and he just kind of walked off like he
you can't
knew what he
argue
did.
with that.
He knew what he did.
There's no argument to be made. You can't touch a player by the neck, especially now. There's 4,000 cameras
And
watching you.
it's not like it's not like he went with force. Like he was gonna chokeslam the dude.
The force.
How stupid and undisciplined do you have to be? Something like this literally just happened 2 games ago with Pepe. And now another player on the fucking team does it.
The goal
Is that
happened.
something like what? Oh
goal
God,
happened,
dude, I can't.
It's almost like the manager, hasn't
Corner
instilled a
comes
great
in.
culture or something. I don't
Corner
know.
comes in. Aubameyang, brilliant header, flicks it on right to the far post of his own goal. His own net.
Brilliant header.
Breaks the drought that Dan said his goal scoring drought.
What's sad is that he only has 1 more goal on the other teams than he does in his own team this year.
Wow. Yeah, that's funny.
What's sad? You want to know what's sad?
What's sad, Dan? Tell me.
I'm excited that Bellerin and Xhaka are out for the next couple of games. I'm happy my players are suspended.
It's understandable though. To say the
Xhaka
least.
has got to go. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like obviously the whole thing with the fans, that was an issue. I tried to see it from like both sides. But no, it's done. He's too many times. He's screwed the team over. He's made stupid decisions. He literally gets a yellow card every single game. He
Not this
just
game,
can't go into a challenge without, trying to get the ball. He has to try to foul him. And he just makes the team better off in so many more ways than he makes them, better or worse off than
there
better
you
ways than they have. So it's like he's got to go, but for some reason Arsenal just want to keep him around for some reason. Get him out of the team.
So
He sucks.
And now I'm wishing I didn't do this. I named last week's episode Arteta Out? Question mark.
Yeah,
Or-
you named it the
2
best
weeks ago.
11.
2 weeks ago we did, right?
I don't know. I don't think we ever named it Arteta Out yet.
No,
did we?
one of them I named Arteta Out.
It was 2 weeks ago.
I think so.
We have a recording of Dan from last week's pod saying, and I quote, "If Arsenal moved to
Maybe I
Burnley,
didn't.
the Burnley,
Maybe I didn't. I'm gonna check.
then I'm Arteta out." So Dan, asking you, as Arsenal has just lost to Burnley, are you Arteta out?
I want to be Arteta in so bad. I really do. I think he has good ideas. I like his demeanor and like the way he takes his press conferences and everything. What, Brian?
Didn't name Arteta out. This one's getting Arteta out.
I was going to say.
I like the way he acts around the club. I was excited when he was appointed manager. I feel like when he first took over, they were playing good soccer. I want to say it's the players because a lot of it is you're playing like the players. They suck. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Like they suck.
Right. Okay.
But I know what you're gonna say. Emery was kicked out.
No, I wasn't gonna say that.
Oh, I had a question for you.
He had worse players.
I wasn't gonna say that. I was gonna say, yes, the players are not great, but you can't make the argument that the other 14 teams ahead of them have better players.
I know, but it doesn't come down to talent. It doesn't only come down to talent, though. I think there's an issue. Well, I know what you're going to say is like, can he keep control of the locker room? Which I think there's too many toxic players in this team that no matter who comes in, unless there's a real cleansing of players in the team, and I don't know if that's you give Arteta time to get a couple transfer windows, but I don't know how much time can we really afford. We're in 15th place halfway through the season.
Here's my question to you.
Third.
You mentioned, they finished last season and they look like they were kind of getting together, right? They were exciting to watch. You were having fun watching them. They looked better. Then they bring in players, right? Mm-hmm. For the most part, they have a pretty decent transfer window. In your opinion, if you have to put it down to one thing, what changed from the end of last season to the start of this season? What do you think kind of swung it to the point where Arsenal just can't seem to get anything going?
I think there's got to be something in the locker room going on. Like, I don't know. I mean, you have some decent players on the team. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like, you have a core foundation in Tierney, Gabriel, Leno. I think he's a decent keeper.
Yeah, there's no.
I agree.
Aubameyang is a good player. He's in a drought right now. No one can say like he's a bad player. He's just in very bad form right now.
Yeah, right. I agree.
And then we have exciting young players too. Saka's a good player. But then there's just like fluff around there that you need to trim the fat here. I mean, I'm being serious. Like Ceballos, he's not going to do anything. He's on loan. Don't bring him back. The center mids, I mean, Partey, once he's healthy, he'll be a mainstay. He'll improve the team.
I don't think you can play Partey and Xhaka together.
No,
that's not a duo that doesn't help.
My plans don't include Xhaka, so
good to know those are your plans.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Maybe you asked me what I would do, what I would fix.
Yeah, no, I am.
You get Xhaka out. You allow Partey to be that box-to-box midfielder, but that's the thing. Like, you might need another player who's going to be stationed in the back, like a rock back there, like an Ndidi or so on from Leicester when he's healthy. But we don't have someone like that at the moment because Xhaka's just slow and stupid. But then you bring in Willian.
This episode, the roast of Xhaka.
Willian doesn't make the team much better.
He's just there.
Yeah, he's just kind of there, making a lot of money doing nothing, and kind of like Pepe too, who fills in for him and plays every other game as well. But there's just no consistency with this team, and I don't know.
All right, for the final time,
I have a couple comments. Hold on. There's a couple of things I want to say. I think Arteta made a stupid mistake when he didn't put Ozil on the roster at all in the squad.
Mm-hmm. I agree, but I think he was trying to make a statement.
Yeah, trying to make a point.
But I think it backfired more than it ever could have now.
It did. Yes. No, I agree with you.
I think that was a bad decision.
Well, then how dumb does he look if, say, he does put him on, he brings him in, he starts playing well.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
And then he leaves in a month. Like,
not even that.
If he walks in like, hey, fuck you guys, this is what I could do, and then he fucking bounces.
Right now, it's Arteta, it's a lose-lose. Because if you don't put him in, the fans are going to riot. At this point, I think fans are tired, and they realize, listen, we're paying $350,000 for him to sit on the bench each week. Give him a shot at this point. Like, in the January window, he needs to be on the squad. Then, if he actually goes in and plays well...
He's going to get more shit for leaving him out.
Right, you can get more shit because you're like, well, we're in 15th place now.
Yeah.
And if he would have played all season, we wouldn't be here. Okay, one more quick thing. I get he hasn't had a lot of time, and I get that he's only had one transfer window. But you also have to remember that Lampard came into a Chelsea team in the middle of a transfer ban, brought up young talent, and was able to bring that team to a Champions League place.
Yeah.
So we can make excuses at some point, but like, there's a lot of reasons against him.
No, I know there's a lot of reasons, and like I said, I'm leaning towards out now. Like, I think he's had a year. I think it's like almost a calendar year now that he's been with the team. Things look good, but you got to be able to keep control of your locker room, and if you can't do that, you're not fit for the team.
One final time before we move on here. After your comments last week,
Out.
Is he out?
Get him out.
Garrett out?
I said out last week.
I said out too.
But
What sucks is
you know what the issue is now? I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, go.
The issue is who's going to want to come in and work on this project now? You're bringing him in to work on this project, and you really couldn't think things could get much worse. Like, you'd think you'd be at least, worst case scenario, middle of the table, like 10 or something.
Yeah.
We're 15th. We're 5 points off the relegation zone. So I just feel like who's going to want to come in? Like, even if, like, he does stay and you want to give him more transfer windows, what players are going to want to come?
Yeah.
You're not going to want to leave a Champions League club. Like, the one player we're linked to is, like, Awar from Lyon, and why is he going to leave there and come to Arsenal where they're in 15th place? And
your players are choke slamming people in the middle of the field.
Yeah, there's no discipline. There's issues going on.
That he probably doesn't want to be a part of.
I think it sucks for Arteta because I think at some point he could have been a great coach for Arsenal. I think they hired him with, coming as an assistant from Man City, put a lot of pressure on him to do well, and it just hasn't panned out, unfortunately, for him. But
I like him. I think he's, like I said, I think he, like you said, I think he'll be a good coach one day, and I do think he does have good tactics, and it's like some good tactics. Like, I'll go back to the FA Cup games. Like, he had a clear game plan, and the team executed. But something's changed, and he either needs to figure it out or he's going to lose his job real soon.
Correct.
All right.
Ladies
and gentlemen.
Let's move on from our Arsenal roast session.
That just wraps up game week 12.
Yes.
So we have an interesting week coming up. There's some midweek soccer games on tomorrow, games on Wednesday, and was it Thursday as well?
Yeah, it's a lot of games coming up in these next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. It's recording this on a Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the next spell of games for game week 13. Let's get this rundown going. I'll kick us off. Chelsea at Wolves. I think Chelsea win this one. Have a bounce back game. I think they take this one by at least 2 goals. Garrett, West Brom at Man City.
I think if there's a game for Aguero to come back, it'd be nice to see him come back against West Brom, maybe score a couple, get a little confidence under his belt, and I think City wins this game, by a couple, I would hope.
Here we go, Dan. Southampton at Arsenal.
That's tough.
It's not tough. Southampton are going to win that game. Like, I have no faith.
All right.
Can't argue with that.
We're going to go Newcastle, Leeds. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to go 2-2. I think it's a tie game. Garrett, pretty good game. Everton at Leicester.
I do think this is a good game. I think it's actually really tough. I think this could be a tie. I could see a couple early goals and a couple late goals in this one, not a lot in the middle. I'm going to say they're going to tie, maybe 2-2, 1-1, 2-2.
All right, we're giving Dan a thriller here. Brighton at Fulham.
I think Fulham win this based on the way they've been playing. I think it's not going to be a high-scoring game, maybe like a 1-0 or 2-1. But, I think Fulham win this.
All right.
Good game. Good
Palace, West Ham.
Oh.
Not there yet.
I have it differently on my run out.
I think West Ham win this game. I think it's close. I think it's a 1-goal game. I do think they get the win. Garrett, obviously, game of the week. Tottenham at Liverpool.
This is the top of the table matchup, and I think this is going to be a really cool game to see because it's going to be, can a team that doesn't have a big striker beat Tottenham, who sits deep, packs the box, and defends? Because I think we talked about how a team needs a big striker to score against them because they sit so deep. Like, can a team with players like Mane and Salah beat them with the way they play?
I could see this game going either 0-0 or 3-3.
I could see it being a 1-0, honestly. Like, one team scores and that's it.
I could see it being low scoring or nothing in the
I don't know who, but I think it's going to be 1-0.
Dan, Burnley at Villa.
I think Villa win this. They came off a win against Wolves last week. Burnley came off a win too, but I still think Villa are the better team here. I'm going to say 2-0.
All right, and to round out the week, Thursday game, the final game of this match week 13, Manchester United go to Sheffield. Listen, guys, you better win. I think they win this game. I hope Cavani's back. I think this is a good game where he can, where he can maybe come on late or start the game and take him off early, ease him back with the injury. I hope maybe Rashford gets on the score sheet, not Rashford, I'm sorry, Martial. maybe get something going for him because he's been struggling a lot. But I do think United win. I think they put in at least 3 against them. All right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. One last thing about Arsenal before I forgot.
Oh,
I just
Lordy
remembered.
Oh, Lordy Lord.
They've lost 4 home games in a row for the first time in like a crazy amount of years. Do you know how bad that is?
Pretty bad.
Pretty awful. And not even to Burnley was one.
United won 9
To
away
Burnley,
games in a row in
Wolves,
the Premier League,
Villa,
so-
and someone else.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
All right,
What
we're
we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Last week we did our best 11 of the season so far. Now is going to be our worst 11 of the season. Most overrated, underperformed, all that jazz.
Right, so what we're going to do, so this is not the best 11. Now, let me explain what this means. This doesn't mean the worst player that plays every position, because we're not doing that. What we're doing is basically players that had either some expectation, came into on a big transfer, maybe, that got paid a lot to come, that have just underperformed the expectation that we had for them or that, most people had for them. So, if you say, oh, no, there's a worse left mid that plays for Sheffield, I'm sure there is. But that's not the point of this. This is people that have underperformed expectation because they had a big expectation going into it.
Yep.
All right, let's kick it off. Out of the back, we're going to start with the goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford.
I think that's pretty
Yeah, a player
Pretty easy
who went from potentially being England's number 1.
I think he still is.
still
at
it
this
might
point.
be England's number 1.
I don't think he's going to keep that job for too long.
No,
He's
but
actually been playing a little bit better
He's
the
been
last
playing
couple
a bit
games,
better.
but the beginnings of his season was just
The
not
shakiest.
good.
Coming off
Really
of last
shaky.
season, he
and he got benched for a
he
week.
looked great. And then they said the start of this season he started kind of shaky. There's a lot of expectations on him to easily take over that England number 1 spot.
Well, he already had it.
But to hold it,
Solidify it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And this year just hasn't been great for him. That's why we have him as the keeper for this 11. Center back, somebody?
Yeah, I'll do Egan as a center back here. I mean, we talked about Sheffield's team, how they rely on a strong defense. So I think the center back has to be Egan. We've seen the Vardy's goal last week where he got beat on a foot race. Probably should have taken the foul. They've been beat in the air by teams that are aerial threats. They're just not defending as a unit. And, I mean, he's the center of their defense, so we're kind of just giving a little bit of a blame on him there.
And because they played so good last year. I think
Right, and he had a great season last year.
Yeah.
He was one of their standout players. So
And
he just took a step back, I think, this
Yeah.
year.
Do you
Dan,
want to take the other center back?
You got it.
Okay, I wanted to do the outside, but all right.
You can do it, too.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Willy Boley from Wolves as the other center back. He hasn't had a terrible season, but I think he was one of those center backs that had high expectations. Last year he was, I would say, one of the best, most consistent in the backs. I mean, Wolves, they haven't had the same start to the season as they had last year. They're still a really good team, but they've let up more goals, I think. Boley also, it just hasn't been that dominating presence that I feel like he was last year. So, I don't know. Not having a terrible season, just not living up to the expectations that we had thought or he lived up to last year.
You want to keep it going? Go right into
Go right into who you want to go into.
right into your boy.
Yeah, right back, Hector Bellerin. He was a player that the first couple of games, I think I actually said on the pod, I think he's actually been playing better. I think he's actually having a decent start to the season. He's getting up, but he just doesn't know what he's doing on defense anymore. He doesn't. In the Spurs game, he got caught out of position, and partially it was his fault for, the first goal against his son. And he just, he does occasionally put in good balls going forward, but a lot of the times they're just not to anyone, and they just not placing his balls in great spots. But I just think he's just. I know that was poorly worded.
No, I was thinking something totally different.
But yeah, for me it's just not a great start to the season, and he's been getting. I think he has 5 yellow cards already, so he's out now. So.
And he's out now. So here's one we never really decided on, which is why I just pulled up. I'm just pulling up lineups at this point.
Yeah.
We don't have a left back. We haven't really chosen
We
one.
could take the other center back and just say screw it.
Well, I mean, we
Make it
could.
forward
So,
right there.
all right.
I wouldn't say
he
him.
has played in this position this
I
season.
wouldn't
So
say him because he started the hurt.
all right. So it's a stretch here, but we'll
stretch
say
it
it
out.
because he did play left back.
Hey, it's our show. All right.
All right.
We do what we want.
Since he did play left back a few times this year, Ake from City. Now, he might not have come in as people thought, he was an overreach on the signing, but he was still a 40-something million signing. So there's expectation there regardless of where you come from. And, I mean, at this point, he's like third in line as a left back and our fourth choice at center back. I mean, you spent that much money on someone that's basically, unless half the team gets hurt, isn't going to see the field in the competitive game. So, yeah, even though it's a stretch, we're going to put him at left back. So, Ake is our left back.
All right, going in on the midfield, and this is a player that I'm about to name that kind of kept this up. I wouldn't even say just this season alone. Like, it's been happening for a while. From Manchester United, Paul Pogba. This has been going on for a while where he kind of hit this slump, and as soon as he kind of hit the slump, it was, bad attitude from him, from his agent, saying that this has been the worst spell of his career. He got benched a little bit. He did have some injuries here and there, but nothing that should have kept him out as long as it has. He just wasn't playing because he wasn't good enough. Now with everything going on, with his agent saying he's definitely leaving, he wants to get out of here. It's not good for him. It's not good for his confidence. I don't agree with him starting this past week, especially after all. I know it's not his fault, but as a manager, Ole should have probably just said, all right, you know what, it's just not helping. You paid millions upon millions for this guy. He's supposed to be one of the best center mids in the world. And if you're one of the best center mids in the world, or at least supposed to be, I don't care what team you're playing for. You should show up. You should put up numbers and results. So that's why, Paul Pogba is one of our center mids for this team. What's up?
I'll go to the other center mid.
Oh, yeah, use that one.
So the other center
mid.
mid.
Boys.
Well, yeah, the other midfielder, not center mid, sorry. The other midfielder is Bernardo Silva. I mean, he's a player that, I don't know.
World class at one point. Like, you would say he's world class, right? Like, his touch and skill.
Say he is.
Arguably last year was one of City's best players. He's a hustle guy that has great touch. He can change a game. He will hustle to the final minute, but
he's not getting the time.
He's not getting the time, and when he has gotten the time, he hasn't really been effective.
Has he been hurt at all or no?
Not really. He just hasn't played. The last game he played was the Tottenham game and got subbed out. I mean, he hasn't made a difference. And when a team like Man City, who has so much depth, if you don't go in and make a difference, that's it. You're not seeing the field anymore. And Pep's not the one that's shy about pulling someone. I mean, we've seen that.
No.
So, I mean, I had him pegged for a big year, and he's the complete opposite. I mean, it's hard to argue he's had any effect on the team this year at all.
Trust me, I know he's on my fantasy team, or he was on my fantasy team. The hardest thing was dropping him because, like, I got him pretty high too. I'm not to talk too much about fantasy, but like I was excited, like, because I thought he was a really great player. No, I knew he was a really great player.
Yeah.
But he just hasn't been this year.
Yeah.
Dan saying not talking about fantasy. If you guys want to hear our fantasy thoughts, let us know. I feel like that'd be fun. I feel like that would be. I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to hear, we could talk about it.
Dan, you want to finish out that center there?
Yeah, so more of like a. I don't really know his actual true position. Sometimes he plays out wide. Sometimes he plays like a false nine kind of. For our sake. We're gonna say to round out the midfield, Havertz from Chelsea. And while he hasn't had a terrible start to the season, there was obviously a lot of hype around him coming in. Right, like he was Chelsea's biggest signing, besides probably even bigger than Werner, but it was close.
They were both up there as pegged as two of the biggest signings.
Both up there, and he was a player that performed highly in the Bundesliga. He insane goal and assist record over there. Plays good with the national team, but he just looks like he hasn't really found his rhythm yet. Mm-hmm. Like he also just kind of seems like he goes missing at times in games. Like very similar to like an Ozil type player.
Yeah.
Like I mean, he did score a hat trick in one of their non-league games, like one of the cup games. So he can score and he can perform, but he just hasn't brought it so far.
In the league this year, he hasn't been.
Yeah.
I mean, I think anyone would agree that Ziyech and Havertz have both done. I mean, Ziyech has outperformed Havertz, and I think Ziyech had less expectation coming into it.
Yeah.
So,
and Werner too.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Again, this isn't worst players.
Yeah.
It's not meeting expectations is the point of this list.
All right, I'll take one of the wingers here. Another United player, Martial. He's played, striker. He's played in the wing this year. He had an injury maybe a few games ago, but the way he finished last season when he came back from Project Restart, he was pretty much scoring at will. He got his first Premier League hat trick. he was playing great. I thought he came back to get the ball. He wasn't holding the ball too long. It was on his foot, off his foot, and he was shooting. He was taking chances. This year, since the start of this season, he's getting the ball. He's trying to do too much, and he's trying to take players on when he shouldn't. He's trying to take on 2-3 players at a time, holding the ball way too long. And what really bothers me is you don't see. Yes, he's getting lost in games, but you don't see the hustle you saw at the end of last season. You don't see him working back to get the ball on his feet. You don't see him making those extra runs in behind. When he turns over the ball, he stops. Right? He kind of reminds me of Pogba in a way where you turn over the ball, he just kind of throws his hands like, crap, and just doesn't even try to get back. Yeah, you're playing up front, but you got to put in the effort. I personally had very high hopes with the way he finished last season. I thought he was going to come in. I thought he was going to easily be our leading scorer. Even with Bruno, I thought he was going to help us out so much this year. He hasn't really performed, and that's why we kind of picked him for this list.
I'll take the next one so Dan can finish off.
Dan can finish it up.
So our next choice for underperforming player is St. Maximin. And I don't think we had Newcastle pegged to be high, but we had him to have a big future. I mean, he was a great player. He has shown great skill. He's a force going forward. He creates chances. He takes players on. And he's got 1 goal in 8 appearances this year. And Newcastle's done pretty good without him being even a factor in their games. I mean, he was about to get... I think he has an injury now, but he was falling out of favor anyway. He just hasn't been the player that we've seen he could be in those late games last year after the break and everything. It's unfortunate because I think a lot of Newcastle fans were excited about him, but he just hasn't been at his best. I mean, everyone falls out of form eventually, but I think he had a lot of expectation coming into it.
Yeah, we spoke highly about him in the beginning of the season too. Like even in his first game, I don't know if he got an assist, but he was creating some like really good chances on the wing, like sending nice balls in and clear cut chances, but just kind of tapered off.
Yeah, one of the things we saw after they restarted last season was he's fast. He's a very, very quick player.
Yeah.
All he really needs to do is take 1-2 touches, take it down the line, either cut in, take a shot himself, or play the ball in the box. And that's not what he's been doing. He hasn't been just trying to beat players down the line. He hasn't just that's his game. He's trying to do too much. He's trying to cut in. He's trying to do different things. He's not sticking to what he's good at.
I mean, there was times when he was at where he does dribble too much. He does like to take players on, but I think the problem is like when you're doing that and you don't have the stats to back it up, I think it makes it more difficult.
Yeah. Dan, finish off. Who's our striker?
Probably one of the most obvious choices on this list, Aubameyang.
Yep.
It's Aubameyang.
It's hard to argue.
Can't argue it.
I don't think he's ever had a drought like this in his whole entire career. And 2 goals in 12 games this season. 1 from open play. The other is a penalty. You can just tell watching him, he's just not himself. And I don't know if that's because he's playing some games he's up top, leading the line. Sometimes he's out wide and you just can't get a groove. Maybe it's because he doesn't have anyone feeding him. Also sitting on the bench not even on the bench, sitting at home on his ass, making $350,000 a week or pounds a week, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, I mean, Aubameyang
he just looks out of it.
He's out of sorts. Even in front of goal, he's just not himself. Even, he's always been, I think, one of the best finishers in the world.
You saw it against Burnley.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the drought's over, so that's a good news. But yeah, I mean, it's just not great with him at the moment.
And I mean, he was what? Did he second Golden Boot, tied for Golden Boot last year?
Yeah, he was up there.
I think he might have been second last year, but tied the year before. I don't know. I can't remember.
But I mean, 2 solid years back to back. And I mean, this year, unless he comes out of this drought with the biggest goal scoring streak of his life, is not going to even finish probably top 10 maybe this year. So
I don't know.
Anyway,
but that's our not the best 11 due to underperforming expectation.
Very long title.
I mean, because I have to preface it because
have to.
I know.
We're gonna get yelled at. You should put the entirety of Sheffield on there.
And you know what's funny? It doesn't even matter. We're gonna say it, and we're still gonna have people that go, yeah. Well, what about this guy from Fulham who played 1 game and got beat? I'm sorry, I didn't talk about him. I apologize. He wasn't really on my thoughts.
All right.
Oh, yeah, and shout out to the guy who said I own way too many City away jerseys. This one's for you. Thank you.
What are we at now?
Now we're past.
Wow,
It's about 120.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you guys for listening.
You guys are awesome. The ones that follow us on everything.
Yeah, you guys follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at League Pints. Premier League and Pints on YouTube. Go over there. Give it a watch. Subscribe.
At League Pints on TikTok
Thanks.
Said that.
and Twitter. That's what I meant to say.
Said that.
I said it again.
All right.
Double
and
plug.
listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the iTunes. Well, I don't even know which one's
There's a
there
lot.
anymore,
just follow.
to be
Yeah,
honest with you. just
I mean, if you're listening to it, you're already listening to it. So
Yep.
tell your friends.
can't be wrong there.
Thank you guys.
Have a good
Appreciate it.
have a good morning, day, or night, depending on where you
See
are.
ya.